Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bob Wahl Show. On the Bob Wahl Show, we talk business, St. Louis, and real estate. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bob Wahl Show. I'm excited. We have Doug Schlenk with FitDad Academy with us again today. And today we're going to talk about tips to help you deal with the stress of a move. And very good topic because I just have clients right now. I see it every transaction. It's stressful. There's
a lot of stress involved.
It's stressful.
No matter what the situation may be.
So it's never easy, but you had to, it hasn't been too long to where you have been through all this.
Right, yeah, it's less than 4 years ago. So it's still, 4 years seems like a long time, but it's pretty fresh in my mind.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about your experience and your lack of stress management
Terrible
at that
stress
time.
management at that time, right. So we were in a situation where we couldn't sell the current home we were living in.
Okay.
And we were having a home built, and the home was already in process. Like we had committed and ground had been broke and foundations in and it's going. So obviously every passing week stress is building when our house isn't getting any showings. And it was just at the time the market in the neighborhood I was in, it wasn't hot, it was pretty cold.
Okay.
And there was a ton of inventory and you had to
How long ago was this?
This was three and a half years
Okay,
ago.
yeah. Oh, that
so
sounds about right.
it wasn't terrible market, but it was definitely a buyer's market.
It isn't what it is now.
Yeah, it is not what it is now, which we were just talking about. I may have a chance to sell mine now.
Right.
Finally. It's a rental, still have it.
Right.
But anyway, so sign in the yard for months, couldn't sell it. I put a sign in the yard on a Saturday morning to rent it, and I had 50 phone calls by noon. So Saturday morning, 7 a.m. the sign goes in, 50 phone calls by noon. So stress goes up right away because I'm like, oh my God, I didn't expect this kind of response because we couldn't get people to walk through it.
Right.
It was crazy to me that people were willing to rent, but at that time, the way the economy was and the way the market was, renting was a really good option for a lot of people.
Right.
So we had a renter, we had a bidding war to rent the house by Sunday night and had a contract by the end of Sunday night.
Okay.
But the contract was for that first renter was stipulated on we had to be out in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Now, fortunately, we had done some prep. We had a mobile storage unit and we had kind of emptied out a lot of the house, stuff that we weren't going to need. But now we had to find a place to live, because they wanted us out in a couple weeks and our house wasn't gonna be done for a few more months at least. Fingers crossed, a few months.
Right.
So we were lucky enough that my in-laws have they were empty nesters, no kids. My wife and her sisters all, obviously moved out and gone. So they had enough bedrooms and space for myself, my wife, at the time a 2.5-year-old, and a newborn, which is always fun.
Wow.
Trying to move and live in temporary living situations. So we lived there for a little over 3.5 months. And my in-laws are awesome. That was part of my checklist when trying to find a wife early in my young days. It was, can I get along with her parents? And by all means, did. They were fantastic. Right. I was more than grateful, still grateful they opened their house up to us. And it was easy, but it's not, because you're in somebody else's house.
Right.
There's the privacy. It's not the same. Yes, we had our own bedroom, we had our own bathroom, but it's not the same.
Everyone gets that.
Right, exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
You start to lose connection as a husband and wife because there's no opportunity for intimacy. It doesn't happen.
Right.
And that's a big part of any healthy relationship. And then you've got kids who aren't used to the situation, who are up all night, not sleeping and crying with a newborn, and it was tough. And given my job at the time and where I was with my with the gym, I was still getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to start work at 6 and work from 6 to 6 essentially. Mm-hmm. And I was not prepped for that. I mean, it was really tough, and I didn't have the skill set that I have now, that I'm going to share some of the ideas that I wish I had known, that I have learned subsequently to deal with those situations.
So looking back and being in the industry that you're in, as far as helping people, not just physically, but there's a mental aspect to it as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are some tips you would have to people going through the process?
Well, if you're like us, and a lot of this, what I'm going to talk is the tips to the head of the household or dads in this situation, because that's what I experienced, that's what I know. If you're in a temporary living situation, whether it's living with an in-law, living with relatives, or even in like an extended stay type situation, you are going to be in a smaller living space than what you're used to, more times than not.
Right.
Okay? You're not going to have access to all your stuff because a lot of stuff's going to be stored away somewhere for a temporary period of time. So the biggest thing I can say, especially out to those dads, is your family will feed off your energy. So if you're a bundle of stress and anxiousness, that is going to flow to your wife to your kids, and if you're living within a household of somebody else, probably within them too.
Right.
And that leads to not fun, a lot of arguments, okay?
Right.
So if that's the case, number one suggestion is you've got to take care of you in a selfish way to some extent. Because the way I look at it and the way I coach within my programs is if you're the head of household, dads, if you go down, how many people go down with you? If people follow your lead, your family's following that as well. So if you're stressed or if you're anxious, if you can't function and be productive, they're going to follow that lead as well, and it's going to be a nightmare. So by taking care of you, is I always say that you're the asset. You're the number one asset. If you're good, that's going to flow down as well. So the easiest way, and this is what I know, and this is what I've done with thousands of people over the years, is some sort of outlet through fitness is huge. Your physicality. If you can get that bound up stress through, whether it's going to the gym and working out, whether it's working out if you have a coach or a trainer, if it's running, if it's walking, if it's going to kickboxing or going to a boxing class, it could be anything of that sort. Anything that gets you physically out of your way and kind of relieve that stress. That's number one. If you can do that, especially early in the morning, it kind of, again, think about it. If you work out, any kind of physical activity, how open is your mind after that? It's a little. You're seeing things a little more clear.
Right.
The path that needs to be taken care of.
Right.
So that would be number one. If you take care of you, get the stress out somehow. Okay. Second is create space for your family. So instead of coming back to that house that you're kind of cohabitating with other people or that extended stay type hotel and having dinner or takeout there, get out and do something. I mean, I get it. Budgets are tough when you're trying to move and stuff like that. So going to a restaurant with a family of 4 could be $100. Well, you can go to a sandwich shop, get sandwiches, go have a picnic.
Yeah,
go to any park.
Go to Forest Park, Garden Hill, whatever.
There's a park.
Right.
There's a picnic table everywhere.
Right.
So create space for your family. And by creating space, it means get out of what your temporary living situation is. Get out into nature. Get some fresh air.
That's a very good suggestion.
Right. Because everybody is feeling the same thing you are. They're tired.
And you're getting your own family time. That's important.
Exactly. And you're kind of getting that connection back again as opposed to being kind of drowned out in front of the TV.
Right.
Yeah, we don't kind of want to get away from that.
Right.
And it could be, if you don't want to do a picnic, just go to a park and let the kids play. Anything, just get out. Just create new space. Go for a hike. Go bowling. We did that once. That was kind of fun, even though the kids were kind of young and couldn't do much. But it was kind of fun for us.
Right.
It was really good. The other big thing is, I touched on it before, is the connection with your spouse, and that a time for you guys to be alone. It's not going to be the same, and even in that situation. So what I wish I would have done that I do now is I make sure that my wife and I, we talk about things going on that wouldn't relate to the move or to the kids. More stuff about us that we have going on, whether it be work related, whether it be topics of news or entertainment, whatever the case may be. So getting the stress out through physicality, moving, exercising, walking, anything like that. Creating space for your family. Another great thing would be to, you take over the kids for an afternoon, send your wife to the spa. Yeah. Because she's as stressed as you are in the situation. Take those blinders off and see how everybody else is reacting to what's going on. And then third, separate some time. Even if you find a sitter and have date night with your wife, through this process. And again, it doesn't have to spend a lot of money. You can simply just go for a walk in the park, go to Forest Park and hang out for an afternoon and talk, but don't talk and create more stress about the move. Yeah. That would be huge. And a big thing that I use as a tool on a daily basis now that I didn't have any idea how to do, I wish I did, was I meditate. That's how I create space for myself now on a daily basis. And never, if you would have told me 10 years ago that I'd be a guy that meditates every day and talks about it with people.
Right.
And I said, you're crazy. I don't need that. I don't have time for that. My mind wanders too much, and
Right.
I'm going too fast. I'm a shaker and mover. I can't meditate. I can't stop for 20 minutes.
Right.
But once I learned how to do it the right way, and it's not about trying to clear your mind, but it's actually trying to focus on really positive stuff that's going on in your mind, but being in a quiet situation, can really refresh and recharge and refocus you on all the good stuff you have going on.
I agree to that. And there's different forms of whatever maybe you don't call it meditation, maybe you call it something else, but there's definitely good mental exercises you could do to.
I know plenty of guys, they don't.
If you're getting stressed about something, it's easy. Sometimes you just think about, really, is really anything I'm dealing with all that bad in the scheme of things?
Right.
Because, I've learned long ago, don't ask what else could happen, because trust me, it can happen.
Right.
Plenty else can happen.
I've got a great phrase that a mentor told me when it comes to stressful situations, or if you feel like you just can't get it done.
Right.
You've got two options. You can rest or you can produce, but you can't do both.
Right.
Because if you try to do both, you're just kind of stuck in the middle. All you're doing is thinking about all the
true.
stuff you're not getting done. So choose one of the two. If you're stressed about something with the move, that something's not going right, either attack it, get it done, and find a solution, or forget about it and go and have fun and create space with your family.
Right. So thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Bob.
Look forward to having you on again in the future.
Very good.
And thank you everyone for joining us. That concludes this week's episode of the Bob Wahl Show. Thanks for watching. As always, I will see you guys next week. Goodbye for now.